for most of the country. Jerry, how are you, man?
I am doing good. I'm freezing cold, but that's all right. I know a lot of people in our industry are headed to Cabo today and tomorrow, but not me and Jack. We're staying up north here.
We've got to shovel snow and ice and break it up. But no, those less fortunate are in the ice and snow belt. And I talked to my daughter this weekend actually. Of all things, 80 degrees down in Tampa.
Yep.
So go
Yeah,
figure.
my kids, same thing. Like, uh, thanks
Oh
for
well.
sharing, right?
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Make sure you like and subscribe us, or whatever you want to do. Share the word. We're getting some traction. We're doing some cool things. Had Josh Brown on last Friday actually, with Soap 2.0, the VP of Sales, and just a good story overall, and kind of interesting with Gojo's dynamics of selling to Clorox. Just a lot of continued change going on with the industry. So excited about that. Little quick blurb for those who are watching. We do have a cohort. It's a fancy word for a class starting this Thursday, a 12-week session. This is something that Route is hosting, and it's going to be basically for companies between 750 and 3 million in annual sales. And you can go to the page here. I'll put it on the link, but basically, Mark Anderson, if you know Mark Anderson and Daryl Anderson, are putting through a 12-week program, and let me find their snapshots. These guys here, this guy's legendary. His son is legendary too within marketing advertising, but they're putting together a 12-week session and really going through and taking a deep dive, and they call it the Levers program. I've slaughtered the name. I've got a cold, but they call it the Growth Lever Foundation program, and they're putting like 4 or 5 levers in place that every company needs to be thinking about. It's an investment of $1,500. They offer for the first 2 weeks. It's every week, every Thursday, I believe. It's at 3:30 East Coast time. It's an hour and a half. They're going to have live content. If you miss it, we'll have a replay. We'll also have support content on the community, Route community, as well as they'll be answering questions through the Route community board, so that owners, managers, executives, basically going to learn some real skills with this, guys. If you don't know, not to sound like a broken record, but if you don't know Mark has done a lot of consulting work, as well as Daryl, his son, for a lot of big companies out there. And this price tag that's offered, which again should be a tax deduction if you claim this as a tax deduction. Again, check with your attorney, or not your attorney, but your tax advisor on this. But these guys typically charge much more on this for one-on-one session with the large companies they work with, and this is a group session, so they're giving a discounted rate. So I will put the notes in the show notes, but it starts this Thursday, 3:30. If you have not signed up or you're thinking about it, head over here. They've also got a link that if you want to connect with them just to ask some questions, you can do that as well. And feel free, as always, to reach out to me or Jerry at jack@getroute.com or jerry@getroute.com as well. So again, big names you see here they've worked with, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the outcome of that all is.
Yeah, those are some good guys.
I talk so fast. It's kind of like at the end of those medical commercials, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But they've been working on this. They've been working on refining this, and it's been a combination of, Mark's got 54 years in the business. He's like you, Jerry, built a really successful contract cleaning business and sold it, through an exit strategy. I think he sold it. He sold it to Marsden. I forget who he sold it to, but he still does consulting across the country and individuals, and that price and that group rate is something we're trying to bring the price down by doing a large group. So I say a large group, not that large of a group, but a cozy group. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. They're a good group of guys. Mark, and we've had a couple. He's been on the show once or twice with us. So he's a really good guy, and talk shop all day long.
Yeah, and then the takeaway on that too is it's not only them talking, but as Jerry and I have learned through our own classes, we've given the North Star program, is you get lessons there that are valuable. They're going to give assignments, and lack of a better word, I'm going to say homework, but things that are going to move the company forward, and those are going to be assignments that you'll need to do
very tangible
on a weekly basis. Yeah, and it's not homework. It's things that they're going to talk about that if you execute, you're going to see tangible results. And I think that's what they want to do, is not just make it theory. And I think that's what I like about it, is that this is not just theory. These are in action processes that they put in place with other bigger companies, and it shows the impact to it. So
yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, definitely good stuff. I think there's.
And I
Go ahead, Jack.
talk about that though, Jerry, because I think that this is the time of the year. Like, I kind of call it the running through the airport analogy. You ever go to the airport and you see those people running through the airport and they're just sweating, and they're running because if they would take an action at the night before, they'd taken action. Maybe, that night before they would have loaded the car up. The morning that they would have woke up 30 minutes earlier. They would have got, the bathroom breaks with all the kids before they got in the car. These little things you can do on the front end versus, I think what we find, or at least I find, is that some of these companies say, okay, well, let's get going. It's a brand new year. We're excited. We're just going to put our head down. We got a plan. We're going to go after it. And all of a sudden you get to that third quarter, you're going, crap, I'm not going to hit my goals. And I think that's what we're trying to say. Both you and I, the podcast here, what Mark and Daryl are doing, but start now to put that, start running now versus trying to run the last, quarter or so.
There's two words that come to my mind, Jack, that basically made me successful. But when I wasn't successful, it was reactive, right? But when I was successful, it was proactive. It was intentional. And I always say this, you and I talk about this all the time on the show, but we have, everybody has a ceiling capacity. And inside that capacity, you only have so many hours of the day that you can work. And so why not schedule them intentional time to do intentional things, working on your scheduling is I use that all the time. Set up block schedule. Be intentional about it. I'm going to work on this. And even if you're a small person, you got to go out and or do floors. There's still the opportunity to be intentional about block scheduling your time and maximize the capacity that you do have. And once you get to a place where you realize, okay, I'm maxed, even my capacity, and you start bringing in people, you still use those same principles, but those principles are applied to, okay, I'm going to spend this hour talking to this manager, this office staff, HR, payroll, whatever it is, and you get yourself into a pattern of habit. And I think that will help you grow your business. We say it all the time. To be scalable, you got to be reproducible. You got to have process in place. And I know I harp on it every time we get on here, but it is an important piece of success running a business, no matter what the business is.
Yeah.
But especially in this industry, because it'll run you over if you're not careful.
Let me ask you this. When you had those strategic meetings, those block meetings with your area manager, your building supervisor, or the frontline workers, how did you address that? Because I think the more we talk to people, there's three different types of people. There's people who are relationship, there's to-do list kind of people. I'm more of a to-do list. Like when I sit down with them, I'm like, here's the to-do. But I think part of it is what is the old saying that if you just, what is it, your definition of insanity is what, doing the same thing except in different results. But if you're sitting there and you're busy and you're sitting there and you're having hey Hector, or hey John, or hey Sally, or hey whatever, let's go through your to-do list. That's just basically duplicating the same thing over and over again. You're getting things done, but maybe the conversation should be, what can we do better so that we don't have, a list, or we don't have to spend time reviewing your list. I have confidence it's going to happen. There's something there that I guess I'm trying to get out, that too many people sit there and they focus on what has to be done, which is important, but also there should be some time on, let me block some time out and how do I take this off my plate that I don't feel like I have to micromanage those to-dos? Mm-hmm. You spend your time doing those to-dos, managing those to-dos, and let me spend more time over here doing whatever it may be. That make any sense at
So,
all?
yeah. So my question in response to that would be to managers, owners of the company: do your people understand and know what you expect from them? And if they understand it, are you managing or leading them based off of those expectations? And I think so many people run their company with a bunch of people in it who have no job description. They have no understanding of what's expected of them week in, week out. And when they sit down in that block schedule, often putting in fire and not moving forward. So I think number one, you got to make sure people have a good job description and they're doing it. Number two, you got to put measurables in place, KPIs, all things for that position, and you're guiding them how to achieve those and measurables, and then you're asking the question, what's preventing you from accomplishing that? And help remove the roadblock from them being able to do that. That's your job as an owner. If you're doing that in every segment of your business, there's expectation. There is the ability for you to see where that particular branch of the business is and what's happening in it. And then you're discovering anything that's holding the company back. What are the roadblocks in that particular area? And that happens even if you're $500,000 up to $20 million. Once you start, we talk about repeat business in the business, talking about it in the management of the business. And so there's certain things that I'm looking for as a business for my operations. There's certain things I'm looking for HR, like in HR. What is our run rate? What are we short? We're short 30 employees. 2 employees. How many do we have in the funnel? Prepared. How many people are up to date? Meet all their certifications. In operations, what does our customer review look like? What does our employee looking like in your particular area, and why is that? Are we doing good? Is there something we could do better to retain employees?
Let me ask this, Jerry, and this came up on one of our mentorship calls or coaching calls we have on a monthly basis. What was your cadence for quarterly business QBRs, quarterly business reviews, versus maybe semi-annual business reviews? Like, did you draw, again, you're always with you're engaging the client every week, every day, every month, but you really pull out and say, let's sit down and how are we doing? But did you break out the size of the company? So if it was above a certain dollar amount per month, they were on a schedule, and if they were above this, they were on maybe a lesser schedule, still on a schedule. What number did you break down to make those kind of decisions?
So we kind of had 3, maybe 4 tiers, and every customer got touched in some way, shape, or form 2 to 3 times a month. For me, my top 10 customers were anybody that were 10 grand and above a month. And I tried to communicate with them on a weekly basis. I did, communicate with them, could text, call, go hang out. But at some point, I had a conversation. How are we doing specifically? How's my team doing? How's your building look? Is there anything we can do? Then they feel like we're connected. Like they're helping my business better and giving input to that. So my top 10 got for me, but that was a repeatable process. The next level down was done by the operations. The next 10 to 15 companies, driven by financial, and that same process happened at the supervisor level with smaller buildings. But that conversation was had, whether it was in a formal setting or stand up 5-minute meeting. in some way, shape, or form. Most every customer conversation monthly.
Yeah. So you kind of kept it ongoing. That keeps the pressure off because there's no,
There was no
the
surprise.
work. Yeah. Because I think that's where people lose customers is a lack of communications. But if you lack of communications, all of a sudden those little issues become bigger, and all of a sudden they're 10 times bigger, and 3 months go by, 6 months go by. Next thing you know, there's like, I'm fed up. And it could have been a simple conversation of 6 months ago.
When I first came into the industry, I told the guys, a couple of people on our team, the thing we're going to be best at is communication. We are not going to hang people out. And the more I got into this business, the more I realized how poorly the industry represented itself. I think it's changed now, but how poorly we represented ourselves in the area of communication. And
I would dare say we're not still as an industry as good as we should be. I look at we talk with Ken Tucker, who we've had on the show a few times, and Ken talks about reviews. Giving your frontline team members these QR codes that are tied back to them, so that every time someone gives this will be a long story to make it short, but every time someone gives them a compliment, say it's Jim on the front line doing something, or Sally, they give a compliment. The property gets a compliment from either a guest or one of the clients. They talk about pulling the card out and say, "Hey, I love that. I appreciate. Would you take 10 seconds to just document that? Here's a QR code." And you got those frontline people motivated to ask that because you can track it back to who's getting that. But where I'm going with this is like that communications. If you look at like residential cleaning, they're phenomenal at getting reviews. Commercial, if you start looking at commercials on Google reviews, they're far and few between. I'm talking night and day difference. Like a residential, you'll see easily 200, 300, 400 reviews.
Yeah.
And you're lucky to see more than 10, more than 5 on a commercial. And I think that communication could be tied into that. And that's Ken Tucker talks about that, is using those QR codes and saying, "Listen, guys, we're gonna have a spiff every month at $100 for the people who get the most reviews." Yeah. You tie it back to them. And again, how many times if you can't answer this question, it answers your question, but how many times have your frontline workers gotten compliments, but it doesn't get back to you as the owner? Our compliments could be less than compliments. Is it getting back to you? I don't think they'll pull the card out so often to get a 1-star review, but at least
the worst thing that has ever happened is, well, I told your employee 4 or 5 weeks in a row this was happening.
Yeah.
And you got to educate your customer a little bit and be like, they're not going to tell on themselves if they're not doing well. I promise you.
That would be an interesting incentive. Tell us if you got the most amount of negative reviews. That would be a good incentive. We'll give you a bonus, but we're going to let you go.
Yeah. And if you any kind of reward program in this industry, it's got to be backed by some kind of reward system. But it just has to, because that's what most folks are working 2 or 3 jobs to make it happen, and that's what they're driven. So,
yeah, it's tough. What else was there? I think I think I've just been needy. My brain it's Monday, but I worked all weekend. This exchange is taking off. I saw you saw some of the likes, but we've got some nice contracts coming through. We've got 5 buildings, 20 to 40,000 square feet, big box retail stores. Again, these are opportunities that are free of charge to swing at. Whether you win it or not, it's up to you. But we've got that 17 branches across Indiana, and for these are some office. So just it's interesting to see some of the stuff popping up.
Yeah, it's exciting, and if you're out there and you have gone and looked at the Route platform, you should check it out, because I don't want to say they're easy opportunities, but they're leads that you didn't have yesterday.
I'm saying they're not leads though. Here's my new thing. These are next level. These aren't leads. Leads are like maybe. These are opportunities. Now it's up to you to win or lose them. Leads are like
you're right. My bad.
So it's interesting, but we're starting to get some traction on this. I've gotten, again, if you've got a multi-unit location that you want to do a test with, meaning like you need help getting contractors kind of qualified and kind of pull into your ecosphere to kind of interview and vet. I'm doing trials right now at no cost. Again, I'm not going to do 100 location trial, but I'll do a 5 to 10 location trial and show you the speed of it. But we posted one Friday with a company out of New Jersey. And this morning we looked at it. We had 7 contractors already kind of applied for the opportunity. So she's now going through and starting to pre-vet and kind of qualify who's who.
Yeah.
So
that's good stuff.
Volume's there. But no, I think today's kind of I've got a head cold, so I'm half dead. But I think today is just let's kind of catch up. You're well now, right?
Doing much better. Still got a little bit of the cough hanging, but 3 weeks in. But yeah, they finally got. I think I had an allergic reaction to a particular antibiotic that got me on the right one, and so I'm back on the road. I'm about 70%, but feeling way better. So I still have brown bags under my eyes. Not catching up my sleep yet, but I'll get there. So, or I'm getting old, and it's just. And my makeup artist here for the show. She's no good.
Our makeup budget's gone downhill. Our hair budget's really gone downhill. So go figure. All right. Well, I guess Friday we are on back again. Any final words you want to leave with?
No, man. Just share the Chasing Dirt Show links with everybody to like and share, and just, there's a lot of good information on here. We really work hard on make it relevant to what you're dealing with on a daily basis. So stay warm.
Yeah. If you know anybody Friday or anybody's watching the show, want to be a guest, I love the guest part. I think we learned a lot from the guests. So if you know anybody, Jerry, let's get them on Friday.
Yeah, we should. I know. I'll text you somebody. We should ask see if they could be on.
Do ask them. Go ahead and ask them. We'll go.
I'll reach out.
Cool. See you Friday.